This is the 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. It's actually the 5th generation Pathfinder. Nissan has been building this SUV since I was in high school, which sadly was a very long time ago. A few years ago, when the 4th generation Pathfinder came out, we were pretty mean to it. We actually called it the Mall Finder. Why? Well, it had gotten soft. Gone was the hard body on frame actual SUV, and it had been replaced by this soft unibody minivan type contraption that had a CVT instead of an actual transmission. The good news for Nissan is that their products have been getting better lately. I'm talking specifically about the Sentra and the Rogue, both of which were finalists at our Car and SUV of the Year competitions. The question becomes, is the new Pathfinder following Nissan's new path? That's what we're going to find out. As I mentioned, Nissan has been selling Pathfinders to Americans since Ronald Reagan's second term. Were they ahead of the curve? Yeah, a little bit, because back then, not a ton of manufacturers were selling SUVs, especially not family-friendly ones. These days, the SUV has won. It's all over. The midsize family sedan is dead. Long live the 3-row SUV. The bad news for Nissan is there is a ton of competition in this segment. The big dogs are, of course, the Kia Telluride, the Honda Pilot, the Toyota Highlander, the Ford Explorer, but there are several others, Subaru Ascent, Hyundai Palisade, and on and on and on. The good news for Nissan is that in terms of quality, it's a relatively soft segment. In terms of design, there's a lot going on here. To me, it looks like Nissan has a few different plates spinning. So for one thing, it's gotta be real extra macho because it's an SUV, a huge grille. On the other hand, all Nissans have to have this humongous chrome U. Everything from the GTR to, well, the Pathfinder has it. So you gotta fit that in there. But then you have this really almost like avant-garde headlight design. So it's kind of a bit of a mishmash up front. Coming down the side, this is actually a very nice angle. This to me looks a lot like a Land Rover or a Range Rover. It looks very premium, which I like. You have this running board here and it looks pretty good. It's kind of I've never seen one shaped like that. It's not very useful. It's a running board. You're supposed to stand on it so you can get on the roof and strap things down. So they're letting form dictate function, which I don't like. The C-pillar ends here, but it ends awkwardly. It doesn't actually touch the roof. You have this piece of black, I think it's plastic, could be metal, but whatever it is, it's like a trapezoid and it's not quite equilateral. It drives me nuts. Coming to the back, yeah, it's just a big SUV and it says Pathfinder, in font that's this big. So, is it great design? No. Does it stand out in a parking lot? I think yes. The biggest difference between the 4th and the 5th generation Pathfinder has to be the interior. It is a massive, massive improvement in terms of, well, everything, but I think especially materials. Now, true, I'm sitting in a highly optioned platinum version, but I mean, look at this leather. That's nice. You want that in any car you drive. And there's this good stitching. We have pretty metal work. The nav screen's a bit kind of, plasticky looking, but it's such a huge improvement over the old one that I'll totally forgive it. Plus, it's legible and it works well enough. Great steering wheel. I just want to point out the design of the steering wheel. It's quite lovely. I've got off-road modes. I've got snow and sand and mud. I've even got a sport mode. I don't know when you'd use that, but there it is. In terms of comfort, pretty good. It's a big vehicle. It's a little maybe more cramped in here than I'd like. This part, the center tunnel, is intruding on my knee a little bit too much. Rear seats are great. You have middle row captain's chairs, tons of room. Your kids will love sitting there. Third row, average for the segment, but hey, it's a big segment, pretty roomy back there. Obviously, if you flip everything down, you have a lot of room to haul stuff around. This is a large vehicle. And again, this is a highly optioned model. The base models won't be nearly as nice. When it comes to performance, the Pathfinder is a bit disappointing until it isn't. Hear me out. Under the hood is a V6. It is a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 that makes 284 horsepower and 259 pound-feet of torque. And that last number is pretty small. And It's because it's an old V6. It's Nissan's VQ. It's been in production forever. It's not their variable displacement job. There's no turbocharging or hybrid or anything like that. It's just an old V6. So straight line performance, it's not that great, even though this one's all-wheel drive. Now, you could get a front-wheel drive version. The great news, of course, is that the CVT is gone. Hallelujah! It's been replaced by a 9-speed automatic transmission that we're not really fans of either. Why not? It's constantly trying to upshift, right? Just, you're going 40 miles an hour and you're already in 9th gear. But here's the thing, there's a reason why they programmed it that way. Fuel economy. For as large and heavy as this machine is, it gets pretty good fuel economy. 20 miles per gallon around town and 25 miles per gallon on the highway. Also, it can tow 6,000 pounds, which makes it best in class. So again, performance, bit of a mixed bag. In terms of automatic safety features that come standard, it's got both front and rear automatic braking, and it's got blind spot monitoring with cross traffic alert. If you want to get stuff like automatic lane centering, you have to pay up for the higher trim levels, which gives you access to Nissan's excellent Pro Pilot Assist. How much? Okay, you can get into a base front-wheel drive Pathfinder for less than $35,000. This pearl gray beauty right here, this platinum all-wheel drive, is nearly $52,000. So you can see there's quite a price spread depending on the options. And guess what? The same is true of the competition. The Pathfinder's right in the middle, let's say. You get a Kia Telluride, which is gonna give you more features for less, but then you have something like the Ford Explorer Platinum, which is gonna cost about $5,000 more, but not be as well equipped. If there's one thing I want you to know about the 2022 Nissan Pathfinder, it's that while it's better than the Mall Finder, it is not as good as the segment leaders, and specifically not as good as the Kia Telluride, a former MotorTrend SUV of the Year winner. Why not? Well, like the Sentra and the Rogue, they're on all new platforms and they really impressed us, whereas there's a lot of 4th generation Pathfinder happening here. And Nissan, they're kind of doing this. They just announced the new Z is going to be on the old Z's platform. Regardless, here's hoping that the 6th generation Pathfinder gets it right. To see vehicle rankings and a complete buyer's guide, please visit motortrend.com/cars.